Cultural aspects. Identity. The chamame is a cultural manifestation that includes a music style and typical dance in the northeast region of Argentina, and they want to pass it on from generation to generation.
Symbol is considered intangible cultural heritage of the province of Corrèze and of the Argentine nation. Is a symbol of identity and heritage that transcends borders and is heard in northern Santiago, Bolivia, Paraguay, southern Brazil, and part of Uruguay and southern Chile.
The chamamé is the identity mark of la region of Argentine out of many Argentines in different parts of the country. It is an inherited asset that is alive and transforming. It has a message of love for here, respect for nature, love for women and men. It has a message of brotherhood and integration. And in unit used in a great Chamanese nation with part of Brazil, Paraguay, and Uruguay. The chamamé is living heritage that link use and identifies use.
The territory. The chamamé is typical of Corrientes province from Argentina country in the littoral region. Also, the chamamé is listening in other provinces like Entre Ríos, Formosa, Chaco, Santa Fe, and Misiones. All those provinces are in the littoral region, too, where the chamamé is the most popular. Thank you so much.
The chamame in Ecuador is allows an independent copper dance. Originally from North Argentina, its style is named from the popular village that Ecuador was a country of recreation and fun. They son tax company they dance levius testimonio. Duckling Gore like to be Liduran is winner to follow in their folk testing of my love to Ecuador. We indigenous Guarani root. Their musical base is Guarani. Over time, Jesuan's European influences were. Other two is Guarani musical base. The indigenous rhythm was perfect. With time and the different influences is that.
The scion is a from a long-term legal protection that is enabled with a widely and registry of Thailand. Say Argentine Minister of Culture Thursday Weir after learning of the decision with Unesco's Intergovernmental Committee from the safeguarding of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity to include chamamé on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The nomination was promoted with the Institute of Culture, a Korean site to strengthen the importance of the cultural expression and promote greater recognition to the individual group and communities they carried.
Many music and dancing are an important part of the regional identity and play major social roles as they are common features of community and family gatherings, religious celebrations, and other festive events. Shamanic headlines values such as love for one's land, local fauna and flora, religious devotions, and way of behind, a Guarani expression pointing to the harmony between the human, natural, and spiritual realms.
Conclusions. The chamame, better known as song dance, is also known as the Creole dance of couples. Sapucai is an expression recognized by UNESCO. The Sapucai is a cry released with a movement of the body that express emotions of joy, sadness, pain, or courage. What is the chamame? For me, I say it is a cultural manifestation in which it is played, it is sung, it is dance, and the most important is it is contagious. Thanks.
Hello everyone. In this part we are going to tell to you about the charfia fishing in Kerkenta Island. The charfia or try is a traditional fishing method used in the Gulf of Gabes and in the Tunisian archipelagos of Kerkenta and Kerba. Its origin is legendary. Princess Aziza Othmana traveling through Kerkenta at the beginning of the 18th century is impressed by the skill and abilities of the fishermen in this area. Upon her return to Tunisia, she proposed to allow the inhabitants of Kerkena to have property on the sea, as this was the only water available to distribute. The sovereign of Tunisia accepts the idea and divides the sea into plots to auction at the beginning of each fishing season. Up to 500 fishing pilots with palm leaves and composed of a base, a large catzon, a small catzon, a lamp, two traps, a catzon, and corridors were made. The idea of this construction is to get the fish to increasingly close space and finally get trapped in the pots.
Cultural aspects identity of charp fishing on the island of Kerkena. As cultural aspects as an identity, most of the inhabitants of the island learn to fish from childhood because it is the most used fishing technique in the Kerken Island. The entire community participates in one way or another in the practice of the element, from the installation of the barrier to the lifting of the nets and traps. Through the practice of rituals, this makes the charfia a unifying factor of the archipelago's population. It is usually common for heads of families to transmit the inherent knowledge to their of the children to this technique, as well as fishing facility itself, so that your property does not leave the family environment.
Kenneth Island Charfia. The Charfia, a king of fishes, maze built beeline of the truss palm ferns, is emblematic of the island artisanal fishing. Turns the currents its drive fish towards capture chambers that the Mayaner system adopted by Islanders, if unique in Arab Muslims. Seas. The island families of plots of the sea were charfia. Structures are passed down towards the generation. Traditionally, the charfia is rainbow every year, and the fish are caught with respect for the natural reproductive times. Unlike modern charfia, which I fixes a structured left of the sea for of the consecutive years. That palms forms are also used to make traps called dream with a double couch with octopus can ever do but is escape form. Another traditional fishing method in the Borse works for Terracotta, a form traditionally used to hold water or wine. But in Kirkena and Elgusy alone the tourists, cause they are placed in the sea.
Good afternoon. I go to talk about of the geography of Kirkenes. Kirkenes is a small archipelago of 10 islands in the Gulf of Gabes, not far from the city of Fax. The Gulf is known as the nursery of the Mediterranean because of the underwater meadows of Posidonia seagrass that make it a perfect habitat for fishing reproduction. The symbol of the island is the date palm, and for centuries date farming was a vital activity for the local population, along with artisanal fishing. Now the date palm is under threat, replaced by more profitable crops like olives. Date palm leaves traditional used for producing fishing equipment are gradually being replaced big plastic as are other materials found on the island, terracotta, alfalfa. But the biggest threat facing the island is climate change. Kerkena is one of the most vulnerable places in the Mediterranean. Its climate is increasingly arid. The sea level is rising and so are temperatures. In this already fragile environment, illegal dreaming fishing is threatening the Posidonia meadows, and fish stocks are in inexorable decline.
History of charfia fishing in Kirkenia Island. The natives of Tunisia and Kirkenia originally settled there, but during of the spread of the Roman Empire, the Kirkenia Island served as a location to watch over the sea. In the year 2 BC, the Emperor Augustus exiled Sempronius Crassus, a lover of Julia the Elder, to the island for 14 years for his indiscretion his daughter. Greeks called it Cercenia. In modern times, the island played an important role during the country's struggles against colonialism. Habib Bourguiba, Tunisia's first president, sought shelters on the island when he was wanted by French colonial officials. Ownership of the sea dates to the 15th and 16th century. Documents from that time report that locals complained to the Bey of the Tunisia about mainlanders trying to steal their sea. The Bey used a decree allowing Kirkenia Islander to own land under the sea. Starting at point, locals become able to register the parts of the sea where they set the fishing traps owned by them. The documents are now honorary ownership contracts. The fishermen in Kirkenia use unique fishing technique called charfia. Consists of a net shown by hand in circular shape. Charfia fishing in Kirkenia Island is inscribed in 2020 on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity.
Hi guys, my name is Jesus. I'm going about tell to the inheritance and protection of charfia fishing in the Canaan Islands. Charfia is a traditional way of fishing, and it is the best because it does not harm the sea. These walls of palm leaves, perpendicular to the currents, block the passage of the fish and lead them to capture jumpers whose only exit are huge baskets. But Harry not has crowed as they used to be. Here, it is not only the survival of charfia fishermen that is at stake, but one of the richest seagrass meadows in the world. The shallow waters surrounding the islands are home to extensive beds of the seagrass, vital nesting species for fish. What was once the main source of support for the 1,300 inhabitants of the islands. Today is Asia depopulated of all forms the marine life like a desert. There are many factors responsibility for this situation, among them the uncontrolled development of the area and the consequent warming of the weather on its coast. Both the most destructive cause has been the increase in the number of the fishing vessels that the use systems as harmful and troubling. In order to protect the catch areas, the fishermen of outlet ascending make concrete blocks with the dancing into the water, a strategy that explains to us Advil Kaider Bowendi, National Coordinator of the Small Grants Program of the Global Environment Facility. In this way, all fishermen who fish with gear that does not protect the environment and natural resources will they lose their nets, which are tapped in the blocks.
I am going to talk about the importance of cultural heritage. The cultural heritage is no limit to monuments and collection of objects, but it also includes tradition or living expressions inherited from your ancestors and transmitted to the descendants, such as oral tradition, universe events, social conditions, oral curing conditions, social concerts, oral currents, and techniques linked to traditional. Craftsmanship, despite its fragile, intangible cultural heritage, is an important factor in the maintenance of cultural diversity in the face of rolling globalization. Understand the intangible cultural heritage of different communities contributes to the dialogue between cultures and promoters respect for other walks of life. Like many other intangible cultural heritage around the world, charfia fishing in the Kekinan archipelago acquires a cultural, historical value and importance as the traditional legacy of the traditional Kados marks. A previous Kados based on their of importance for the environment science, they are declared a ransom city in 2012. That is to say, has a unique and worldwide protected biodiversity. The importance of tangible cultural heritage, it is not of the cultural manifestation itself, but of the stock of canopy and techniques that are transmitted from generation to generation. The use to the charfia as fixed fishing system has an achievement that each year they are reconstructed, it is taking advantage for social meetings, strengthening friendly and family links in unifying elements for the Kekenians from various modes. You learn to finish with a technique promoting the perennialization of the same.
In conclusion, charfa fishing in the Kerguelen Island is a traditional passive fishing technique that capitalizes on the hydrographic conditions. The charfas are reviewed each year, accompanied by social practice such as sharing a meal or rogatory prayers. The practice of charfa fishing requires extensive knowledge of underwater topographic and marine currents. The biggest threat facing the island is climate change. Traditionally, the charfia is reviewed every year, and the fish are caught with respect for their natural reproductive times.
Hello everyone, welcome to our open house by Group 3. Today we will talk about craftsmanship of the mechanicals, watchmaking and the artistic mechanic. Unesco registered the craftsmanship of the mechanical, watchmaking and artistic mechanic in the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The organization considered in the applicants and the outstanding and the give us the know about the importance of intangible cultural heritage in the cross-border area.
The craft making of mechanical watchmaking and artist mechanicals includes the traditional craft machine of watchmaking from Genova to Shanghausen and from Biel to Visaycon in all including the production of mechanical automators and music both in the Saint Croix region.
These competences at the crossroad between sciences, art, and technology, bring together individual and collective knowledges as well as theoretical and practical knowledges in the fields of mechanics and micromechanics. This border region between France and Switzerland is home to a wide range of artisan companies, training institutions, museums, and associations that promote and transmit these techniques that require human hands. Those highlight qualified techniques, combine tradition and innovation.
While watchmaking and art mechanic play a primary economic role, they have also shaped the architecture, urban landscape, and everyday life of these regions. Recognition of this skill also highlights the complementary and continuity between tangible and intangible heritage. As the La Chaux de Fonds Le Lucle site was inscribed as a World Heritage Site for watch planning in 2009.
At the cross of science, art, and technology, the skills related to the craftsmanship of mechanical watchmaking and art mechanics are used to create watchmaking objects designed to measure time, watch, pendulum clocks and chronometers, and automat and mechanical androids, sculptures and animate paints, music box and snortbox.
Is technical and artistic object future mechanical device that generates movements or emits sound. Though generally hit, the mechanics can also be visible, which contribute to the authentic and poetic dimension of the object. The Jura arts, an area in which craftsmanship remains particularly dynamic thanks to the presence of highly qualified craft people and company that promote the skilled and full range of training options.
Historically, entire families were involved in the practice, developing apprenticeship practices and professional and family alliances. Skills were initially learned in training schools. Nowadays, practitioners also share their know-how via online blogs, forums, and tutorials and collaborative open source projects.
As well as serving an economic function, the skills have also shaped the architecture, urban landscape, and everyday social reality of the regional concerned. The practice is a symbol of many values such as workmanship, punctuality, perseverance, creativity, dexterity, and patience, and the infinity quest for precision and the interesting aspect of time measurement give the practice a strong philosophic dimension.
We will let you know about the country of Bosnia and Herzegovina, about Kubri's custom law mowing contest. Mowing Day is a century-old tradition in the area. It is a custom that means more than just mowing. It brings together thousands of visitors and followers on this exceptional culture event every year. The custom of mowing with handmade scythes and the chivalrous competition of mowers represent the annual crown of this activity.
The initiative for the nomination of these elements came from the local community that inherits this tradition, and inclusion in the UNESCO list contributes to raising awareness not only of the importance of its tangible heritage, but also of the importance of this further preservation and transmission. To young people, the most important social event in the municipality of Cuprus is the annual mowing contest held in July. In the middle, the three best mowers are recognized and the chief mower is treated as a leader who ensures the successful mowing of all the fields to collect hay for the livestock.
The initiative, the nomination of these elements can for the local community that hurts. This traditional in the inclusion in the UNESCO list contribute to raising answer not only of the important intangible herds, but also of the importance of its future preservation and traditional to young people.
Cuprus is a town and municipality located in Canton 10th of the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, an entity of Bosnia and Herzegovina. As of 2013, it has a population of 5,057 inhabitants, while the town of Cuprus has a population of 2,883 inhabitants. Location: Cuprus is 43 km distance from Livno, 107 km from Mostar, 143 km from Sarajevo, 123 km from Banja Luka, and 127 km from Split. Cuprus is located at 1,120 to 1,150 meters above sea level and averages 55 days a year of snowfall due to its advantageous location in the Dinaric Alps. Bosnia-Herzegovina is a country in South and Southeast Europe located within the Balkans. Sarajevo is the capital and largest city. Bosnia and Herzegovina is bordered by Serbia to the east, Montenegro to the southeast, and Croatia to the north and southwest. It is entirely landlocked. To the south it has a narrow coast and an Adriatic Sea, which is about 20 km long and surmounts the town of Neum.
History of grass mowing competition custom in Cuprus, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Currently a UNESCO World Heritage Site of the Culture Nature. The most important annual social event in the municipality of Cuprus is the mowing competition, which takes place in the July in the special memory of Stonica, which gives its name to this traditional competition. The contestant must mow the grass by hand with a cycle and are evaluated based on the time spent, the amount of grass cut on the effort made. The three best reaped are declared the winner, and the first one assumed the role of chief reaper, in charge of monitoring that the grass of all the meadows of the municipality.
Men participate in the contest from the age of 18, and the transmission of this element of intangible cultural heritage is carried out from parent to children within each family. During the contest, the women rake the grass and prepare food for the event guests. Other elements related to this competition are the custom of carrying out national clothing, the forging of sackcloth, and the preparation of cattle for the event. All the people and ethnic or religious groups of Cyprus, whatever their origins, participate in the celebration of this contest, considered as a fundamental component of the cultural identity of the region. The custodians of these elements of the intangible cultural heritage and the Cyprus Rapers Association are the ones who mainly assume its safeguarding.
The initiative of nomination of this element comes from of the local community that inherits this tradition, and the inclusion on the Unesco. This contributes to raising awareness not only about the importance of intangible heritage, but also the importance of its further preservation and transmission to young people. The custom of competition in mowing to the grass on Cyprus is the fourth element of the intangible heritage of Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is included onto representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity.
General Framework Agreement for Peace Bosnia and Herzegovina, Dayton Peace Agreement. Regarding the heritage as well as this underline the importance of its restoration within the peace process. The General Framework Agreement for Peace Bosnia and Herzegovina provides a definition of what is eligible to be designated as a national monument. Movable or movable property of great importance to a group of people welcoming culture, history, religion, or any heritage such as monuments or architecture, archaeology, art or history sites, groups of buildings, a will of cemeteries.
Bosnia and Herzegovina remains a fragmented society with very pronounced ethnic divisions, especially in the educational system. The future of Bosnia will be marked by the river of culture and the acceptance of different value systems, traditions and beliefs, something that is also presented and absolutely necessary for the social, political and economic development of the country. The European Union encourages the authorities of Bosnia and Herzegovina, with the support of the international community, to intensify their effort to address the elimination of excess ammunition and other pending issues.